Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesday. It's February 9th, 2021. We're very glad you are with us today. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, as soon as you think of it, just go ahead and enter it in the chat box. And as soon as our speaker takes a break, we'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. And for those people on Facebook right now, please just enter your questions into the comment field. I am monitoring that feed and I'll make sure we get those questions answered also. For those people on a PC or Mac, if you're using Zoom, we ask that you use the speaker view, which is in the lower left-hand corner. Where that red arrow is, you can grab that white line and you can drag that back and forth and change the ratio between the speaker and the PowerPoint presentation and make it work, whatever works convenient for you. Please note this event is currently being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career FW Facebook page and on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, and if you happen to post a comment in the chat box or have your microphone or camera on, you give consent for your comments, name, and picture to appear. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. I founded Career FW back in 2008 to help the unemployed in Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, after being invited to go to the White House, I decided to launch CareerUSA.org to help people outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area in their job search. I've written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It's available on Amazon for 15 bucks, or if you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you want to drive by my house, you can throw 10 bucks out the window and I will attempt to throw a book in your window as long as you drive very slowly. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. They meet every Friday morning. And at the end of this presentation, I'll tell you about our interesting upcoming speaker happening this Friday. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, the PIT crew, which conducts interviews to help you do a better job before you go for that first interview. We have 4 outstanding speakers who rotate through on a monthly basis. Each one takes a week. LOCKE, Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, and Kurt Vandemater. The reason for the 4 different speakers is because everybody talks about LinkedIn a little bit differently. They all focus on a little bit different thing, a little bit different points in LinkedIn. And they all approach LinkedIn, depending on their background, from a little bit different area, and they tell you why you should use it the way, what they recommend you do. Please, if this is your first time joining us, please join us again next week, the week after. You're going to hear different points of view. And even if you come back and hear the speakers again, they change up their material. The material is not always the same every week. Well, this week, our speaker is LOCKE Alderson. He's going to talk about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies to get results. LOCKE, thank you very much for being with us, and tally ho.
Thanks, Jeff. Are you going to share the screen so I can do mine?
You should be able to do it. I'll stop, and here we go.
Up for everybody?
Not yet.
I thought I had it worked out, Jeff, but it didn't.
Click share screen and then pick your PowerPoint presentation, and then be sure to hit share in the bottom right-hand corner of the box.
We saw you, LOCKE.
What?
You were on. We saw you.
Am I on now?
Now you are. Yes, this very second. Yes.
Well, we can see your picture, but we can't see your presentation.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Jeff and I will go through this every time, so. Okay.
Here we go. There we go.
Okay. Well, that's me. I am LOCKE Alderson. I'm not a technical genius like some people like Jeff. We'll try and work through that. Again, If you'd like the presentation, if you'll send me an email to lockealderson@gmail.com, even though it's recorded, I'll send you the slide deck. So that's lockealderson@gmail.com. I've got about 42 years of recruiting and HR experience and about 19 and a half years in career consulting. I actually started the career consulting and coaching back in 2001 while I was still working at Oracle Corporation as a volunteer and speaker at workshops and seminars. And in 2013, I got asked by Mullen International out of New York, an outplacement firm, to help them on a contract for 90 days, which lasted for 4 years and 90 days. And then they were sold out to Lee Heck Harrison, and then I was laid off. And a month later, I joined Lee Heck Harrison. So that's kind of my background. I look at LinkedIn from a couple of perspectives, both from a job hunter standpoint, as well as from a career coach and consultant standpoint. We're going to take a LinkedIn today, and these are the topics we're going to take a look at. Why do you even use LinkedIn? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I'm going to look at your profile, the different segments of your profile, as you can see there. How do recruiters do their searches on LinkedIn? And how do you search for jobs on LinkedIn? How do you optimize your profile so that you'll get found on LinkedIn? And why do you want to take a look at other people, searching for people? Well, you can search for yourselves as well. And then I've got a homework assignment for you to take when we're all done. Okay, so why do we talk about using LinkedIn? Well, originally it was a tool for networking and sales by marketing and sales personnel. Okay, it was quickly adopted by recruiters and is now the number one. Let's see if I can get rid of this. The number one tool used by recruiters to find candidates. Okay. There are over 750 million people on LinkedIn worldwide. 160 million of them are here in the United States. Over 90% of the hiring managers and recruiters use LinkedIn as a major sourcing tool to find candidates. And at any point in time, there are 30 million employers with over 20 million available jobs on LinkedIn on any given day. And likewise, there are 1.4 million recruiters actively using LinkedIn on a regular basis. And it's estimated on one of the surveys that Ruth showed on a slide last week that about 35% of the jobs are filled by using LinkedIn. The number one is by companies' actual websites, but it's also by networking. Who do you know and who do they know? I want to move on and take a look at why do you want to use it? Okay, we've looked at that. If you aren't on LinkedIn, you can sign up on YouTube, LinkedIn, and how do you sign up and fill that in? And it all starts with your profile. That's basically what LinkedIn calls your resume, although it's a lot more comprehensive than your resume. You notice that there's a headline there. There's my name that you want to talk about. Maybe not my name, but your name. You want to use a name that you want to be called by. You've got a headline underneath that with about, it used to be 120 characters, and recently, sometime late last year, they expanded that to over 200 characters that you can use. There's something else that you can see there called open to work. That's something relatively new. It used to be open to job opportunities, but they changed that and incorporated it. You can see this is off of my profile. So I've made this particular version only open to recruiters, but you can open it up to everybody on your network on LinkedIn. So those are just some of the things that you see on LinkedIn. The photo that you see there should be a good headshot of you, not one where you're standing on a Van de Graaff with your hands on a Van de Graaff generator and your hair going all wild, like Back to the Future, the doctor that's in that particular one. And the open to work section down here, as you notice, you can add additional five different job titles that you can put there. So these are some of the things that you can have on that. The blue pencils allow you to edit that once you've added it online. Moving on to the next slide. Completing your profile on LinkedIn actually increases your LinkedIn ranking. In other words, you want to complete as many sections as you can on LinkedIn because it's one of the factors that gets you an all-star rating, which is the top rating on LinkedIn. Used to be they had a pie chart that showed how much you could get. You can never get more than about 97% on that pie chart. I tried and tried and tried, but never got higher than 97%. You want that professional headshot and the banner on your background. You don't have to have one. They've got a new one that's kind of gray, different shades of gray that Ruth showed on her slides last week. The headline should be the job title of the position you're actually applying for. If you don't put anything in there, it's going to default to the title of the last job in your employment section. And that may not be what you're looking for. You open to work under your headline. If you open it up to all LinkedIn, it'll have a green, it looks like a banner that they put around horses when they win a race. And that's from about 9 o'clock down to about 5 o'clock. And it's green, it says open to work. The About section used to be called your summary. It's an overview of your career, and you want to use keywords from your profession in that. You have a number of characters that you can put in that as well. Actually, I think that most people just use two or three lines, which what shows up when you open somebody's profile, and you want them to click and show to see more, which is more of your background. We'll take a look at mine. You've got about 2,000 characters in there that you can play with. You want your contact information in your email and your phone number in the first line of your About section. You may have it in your contact section, and we'll hopefully be able to look at somebody's profile today to find that out. But you want to make it as easy as possible for the recruiter or hiring manager to get in touch with you. And if I'm not directly linked to you, I'm not going to be able to find that in your contact information. So that's the reason I suggest putting it on the top line of your About section. You can have it in other places on your resume as well, on your profile as well. At the bottom, it's another place on some people's profile. The experience section should be the job title. If it's an unusual job title, you want to explain what it is in generic terms. Use title that's used in industry. And a description of your duties and the results. What were the resulting from performing those duties? And keywords from your profession. You want your skills from your profession. You can have up to 50 and endorsements for people adding to that on your skills. You want to include your education and awards and professional development. A lot of times when I look at people's profile, they talk about a degree and they may have gotten that 20 years ago, not necessarily what you've done since then to update your skills and keep them current. And you want to add recommendations from coworkers and bosses if you can. Take a look at mine. I think I have added 2 this year, and I'm not doing actually any work in particular, aside from helping people occasionally with their LinkedIn profile or their resume. Okay. You want to ask the question, you want to edit your URL and make sure that it's public. Again, you can do that. There's a section, edit profile, and do that. When you do that, edit your URL. When they originally assign you a URL, this kind of box right here, actually it's your name plus 8 to 10 characters after that, characters and special symbols. You want to generally take those out, those characters after your name, which is right in here, and add something. You may be MBA, or if you're John Jones, you might be Dallas or Texas, something to identify you. Because if you have a well-known name like a John Smith, and there may be 2,000 John Smiths in just the Dallas area. So once you've done all that and done the editing that you want to have, you try and save it. You're going to get a red X or a green check mark. The green means that you can use your name or whatever you've entered. The X means that there may be somebody else has got that first. Next, we want to take a look. Is your public profile really public? Well, you can go to your settings. This is me, and you can go to your notifications. You go to view profile. When you do that, under that, there's a settings and privacy, and set some of those open. Okay. The ones that you want to have open is who can see your email address. Again, you want to make it as easy for people to get in touch with you as possible. Who can see your connections? You want to make that one where you're in a job hunt mode. You may want to make that one private, because you may not want to have recruiters taking a look at your list, because many of the people on your connections are people like yourself with a similar background. They can build up their recruiting list of candidates to talk to. Again, is your profile really public? Well, these are some of the settings that you can go. These are all radio buttons that you can shift back and forth over here to on and off. Again, we'll go back to the profile, and you have 6 to 10 seconds to take a look at somebody's profile. That's what recruiters do with resumes, and they look at profiles that way as well. So there's some things that you want to have that can grab somebody's attention. In this particular one, I'm open to work. I've changed that, and it's open to all LinkedIn members, as you see here. I've got a good headshot that I mentioned. You've got a background photo. This is from that cruise that shows in my background shot on our Zoom meetings. This is down in Curacao. I've got a number of job titles that I have here. Again, remember, you've got 120 characters. Well, it's actually gone up to over 200 now. It used to be 120. And connections and contact information, and open to work. So those are some of the things that you want to have on your profile. That's the quickling that people are going to take a look at. The next thing they're going to take a look at, let's take a look at some sample headlines. How do you think, what do you think of these? Unemployed or retired? Well, they're probably truthful, but they're not probably the ones that I would recommend that you use if you're job hunting, because they have some negativity attached to them. Seeking new employment is a little bit more favorable, but again, it isn't very descriptive of what you do and the skills that you bring to the party. How about formerly VP of Finance? Nothing wrong with this one, except something you're telling somebody that you're out of work. Well, it may be that you're out of work or not out of work if you're on LinkedIn, but why broadcast it in this sense if you're looking for a job? This one is a little bit stronger. Experienced digital design engineer seeking a new opportunity. Again, we've taken that initial one up here, seeking new opportunity, and amplified it to make it a little bit clearer of what somebody's background is. Here's another one, social media strategist and content manager. Seeking new opportunity with print, has experience with print and digital media, have experience in public relations, and yes, there's an acronym there, PR, and that's recognized by LinkedIn. It recognizes others like CPA and MBA, or some others in marketing communications. So this tells you a little bit about somebody and their background in a short, concise manner. Here's one that's pretty short, but again, it's very concise. Tells somebody that this individual has background in supply chain, procurement, and purchasing. I've used a pipe character, which is right here, and that's the shift key just above your enter key on most of your keyboards. If you use a pipe character, be sure and you leave a space on either side of it, because chain, pipe, procurement is not a searchable term when a recruiter does a search. So you want to make those searches as easy as possible to get the results that you want. Senior accountant, this one is modified to include GL, that's just general ledger. Most recruiters know what that is, or AR or AP, financial reporting, and cost accounting. Executive assistant. Well, if you do a search in the Dallas area for that, you're going to run into about 36,000 executive assistants. So add some more descriptive material to tell people what you've done, budgeting and event planning. IT project manager with ITIL experience in Scrum Master and Agile. Again, the ITIL is a certification. Scrum Master is what somebody has done, some of the duties that they perform, and Agile is a methodology that's used. And those give, for IT recruiters, they quickly identify what this person has got. General manager, manufacturing, aerospace. Again, further descriptive material about what somebody has done. Well, let's take a look at some others. Now that they've modified the headline section that you can have up to 200 characters, here are some other headlines. This is a pretty good one. I borrowed this slide from Ruth last week, but I liked it so much that I wanted to show you what it was. And you can do that. You can use some soft skills as well now with the additional characters. Again, a better descriptive. Here's another one, project manager, and expanding on that. Another one, customer service manager and customer relations manager. These are just some ways that you can expand to make it more attractive to people. I mentioned checking the open to work box underneath your headline. What that does is let people know what you're looking for. It gives you the opportunity to add some additional information about the location that you might want to work in and how far you might want to commute, what kind of job you're interested in. It let recruiters know what you're looking for. And again, by opening it up to all recruiters or open to opportunities, it opens it up and puts this banner around it if you're open to everybody on LinkedIn. Otherwise, you can limit it to just recruiters. Another feature on LinkedIn is your dashboard and featured section. Again, one of the reasons that you want to look at your dashboard, this is a picture, a snapshot of the activity on your LinkedIn profile. People who've taken a look at your profile in the last week, the number of posting views that they've had, and a number of times you've appeared in searches. Again, you can click on the search appearances, and we'll do that in just a second, to see what some of the terms the people looking or doing searches have used and where those people work. The featured section allows you to post things like your resume, or in this case, this presentation, the older version of this PowerPoint presentation is right there. Another one is avoiding the resume black hole, another presentation that I've done. But you can use those as a way to post things. If you're a graphic designer, you might want to post part of your portfolio, and that my son's a graphic designer in that regard. But if we click on the search appearances, this is what shows up. These are the terms that they actually used in the searches that showed up there when I clicked on it. okay? And these are some of the companies that those people work for. Now, looking for a recruiter, somebody might be looking for a recruiter to help them find a job as opposed to a recruiter in a company, okay? Or somebody who's looking for a recruiter. Well, that's just a way that you can take a look at that. Let's take a look at your summary section. Notice this one has at the top of it somebody's email address. Got a good description of what they do. Again, a financial planning analysis person. Again, FP&A is down here. They're specially, and they've spelled it out, the acronym, in this case that they're using. Once you've spelled it out once, you can use it multiple times in the profile. Here are some other sample summary statements. Again, they're in the first person. Frequently on resumes, you're told not to use first person, you use third person. You can talk about some soft skills on this one as well. Grateful partner, okay, strategic, creative, hands-on. If you were to use those words on a resume without supporting information, it would often be viewed as fluff and disregarded. So these are just some additional ways that you can do on your summary section that are attractive to people. Next area is your experience section. This happens to be, you want to have your job title, the company name and dates, your duties and responsibilities. You want to limit that to 3 to 5 lines. You don't want too much information. And then some bulleted areas of expertise or accomplishment. Notice this one is when I was at Oracle Corporation. There's 3 lines. Here's a couple of bulleted accomplishments that I have. And I also included, this was an email that was sent to me or sent out to the recruiting team at Oracle by the director of recruiting at Oracle when I left or when I retired from Oracle. So I included that. That's same thing as having a letter of reference or a recommendation in your profile. Just something a little bit unique. I've also included over here the symbol for Oracle, the icon for Oracle. It helps to people to identify it. If you're not working, you want to include a current position. And you want to fill in the title of the job that you're looking for, project program manager, kind of industry perhaps that you're looking for, the company that you're title looking for, where you're looking, and the dates. Again, this is an old slide, but it's a good one. The headline would be the project manager searching for a position in telecommunications. If you're out of work and looking for a job, that is your job right at the moment. And the description of duties, strong skills in product management and project management, project management or product management expertise. Gives a little bit more information, and you get values for adding a current position on LinkedIn. If you don't have one, you don't get the values that are associated with that. Again, skills and endorsements is the next section on your profile. Again, it allows you to have up to 50. Again, in this area, you can add skills like that. Again, you can choose from the drop-down list that's there, the intelligence. If you start to type in one for data analyst, again, if it's not a recognized term, LinkedIn won't allow you to add that particular one, okay? The next area, LinkedIn will choose for you the 3 top skills that they evaluate based on your profile. Now, those may not be the profile, the skills that you want to emphasize. In this particular case, career counseling, executive search, and recruiting are the ones that I have. But you can add a new skill by adding this up here. Notice the endorsements that go along with that. Collins at Mullins, candidates that I work with are colleagues at Mullen International. And some other people. Workshop, as well as with Gail Houston. Those are some things that you can do. Well, I'm sorry about the internet connection being unstable. Again, when you have your skills and endorsements area over here, it chooses those 3 for you, okay? In this case, career counseling, executive search, and technical recruiting. Well, let's say I only wanted to have internet recruiting. I was looking at for a job like that. If I were to click on the push pin here, it will drop down to the group below, and I could go down and select internet recruiting through that push pin. It will move up to these top 3. In addition, you can rearrange the order of these by clicking on this, holding your cursor over the 4 lines to the right, holding it down, and move those around in the order that you want. The same thing in the knowledge below. You can order those. If you have a lot of skills and experience, you may want to put those in alphabetical order. Just a different way of arranging things so that people will make it easy to identify with you. Okay, What do recruiters take a look at when they do a search on LinkedIn? Okay. When recruiters actually do a search, they look at keywords. They look at your job titles. I'll put some of those in. They'll look at your skills. They may look at industries, education, and location. And they may look for some companies and experience and length of service. Once they've narrowed down the list, they tend to look at your summary and your employment history. Okay. Well, let's actually take a look and see what LinkedIn does when they do a search for the recruiters. LinkedIn gives a value for every section on your profile. And once they add those up, all things being equal, if somebody searched for a recruiter, the person that has a higher score is going to appear higher on the list of recruiters when that search is performed. All-star completeness having a complete profile, exact match on the current job title, previous jobs, and in the headline. So they do look for job title. So you can have title down there numerous times, and we'll take a look at my profile in a few minutes. I'll show you how recruiter shows up, different ways that you can have that on there, career consultant. But you're open to work. Recruiters like low-hanging fruit, so to speak. People are easy to approach about a job. Again, recruiters, when I started in the recruiting business, I took some training, and they said at that time, you're going to do a lot of cold calling. And you're probably going to make several thousand phone calls to get a few candidates. Actually, the statistics where you're going to make 5,000 calls a year, and 4,000 of those are going to be, no, I'm not interested. And of the rest of those, you're going to have somebody that you can actually talk to about it. So you're open to work would be that 1,000 that we're talking about as a starting point for a recruiter. Keywords to your profession. Talent acquisition specialist is a new description for recruiters. So that's something that I've recently added on my profile just for the fun of it. The skills that you have, the geographic locations. For most of you out there, you're not willing to drive more than 20 to 25 miles to work if you can help it. Okay, so recruiters do the same thing. They limit their search to 20 to 25 miles from the work location, unless it's a job that can be done anywhere or remotely. First and second degree connections are also making it easy for somebody, because not all recruiters buy a software package called Recruiter or Recruiter Lite to find all those candidates throughout LinkedIn. And comments on posts are another thing that happens. So let's take a look at a LinkedIn search. This is the search screen from somebody who has LinkedIn Recruiter. That's a software license. It costs about $5,000 a year for that particular one-seat license to use that. There are about 700 different criteria that they can look at over here. And they can check all of these when they go through that. So when they've done that, let's actually take a look at what a recruiter finds in terms of some of the results. This particular search was for a product manager in the Seattle area. So they've highlighted product manager, senior product manager, Seattle, but they'll take somebody out of the San Francisco area. They're looking for somebody who has worked at companies, Microsoft, Amazon, and Fluke, are all companies that are headquartered in the Seattle area, and somebody who went to the University of Washington, which also happens to be in the Seattle area. Now, on this particular search, I came up with 6,900 candidates, okay? Some of them have company connections and engage with your talent brand. People, if you follow a company on LinkedIn, it adds to the credibility. It's another factor that they add in this particular one. Well, let's take another look at the next search. This particular one was for a project manager in the Chicago area, but they take somebody from New York or from San Francisco. They had somebody who had business strategy and analytics experience, okay? And you notice some of those things over here. And Northwestern is a school of the Chicago area that they looked at. Companies that they were interested in, Google, Facebook, Evermore, LinkedIn, or some companies that they might have been looking at in particular locations. But again, location was kind of important as well to them. Let's switch gears and shift and look for jobs now. You have, when you do the job, if you go to the jobs tab up here, you'll open a search box that will allow you to search for jobs and location. So you'll enter the title of the job that you're looking for. If you just click and hit return or search at that point, it's going to bring back all the jobs of the United States. So it defaults to the United States. So you do need to enter a location. Once you've entered a location and you're doing your searches, it should stay the same, but that's what you want to do and click on search. The next thing you want to do when you get your searches done, this is an actual search for a senior accountant in Plano. Notice that I've done that up here. And notice the 25 miles, that's the default setting on most of your job boards, including LinkedIn. They can change that. But if you live in Denton and are willing to work in Dallas, that's more than 25 miles. So there are ways that you can deal with that as well. But this listed the actual number of jobs, 144 jobs in that particular situation. It lists the jobs and how you can apply. I have 5 connections through by being at Texas A&M for my undergraduate degree. But those are just some things that you can take a look at. But once you've done your job search, you can create a job alert. There's a tab up here called Job Alert Off. If you switch that on, you have a choice of receiving daily or weekly emails or thumbnail sketches about the job description. Okay, so that's what it looks like with the job search, job alert turned on. You want to use the filters. Again, the filters is something that you can take a look at. The first one that I recommend for most people is to change from any time to 7 days of the past week. You want to look at the fresh jobs. The average response time to a posting on the internet is about 3 minutes. There could be as many as 200 to 300 in the first hour. And sometimes recruiters will shut down recruiting if they get that many. They know that there are probably other candidates that are out there that are qualified for their job, but they have 200 or 300 to look at to start with. So of that original search for a recruiter in the Dallas area, there were 22,000 candidates that showed up. I want to limit to the jobs, I want to limit to 634. There's also a feature for salary that's available, and you can limit it to the jobs that are there as well. Again, not every job posted has a salary associated with it. If somebody hasn't listed it, it may not show up that way. But this guy got you an experience factor that you can factor in. If I were looking for jobs above 100,000, of those 2,087, 83 of them were 100,000 or above. I can also look by location. If I only wanted to work in Richardson or Plano, I could add that, and you can add a job as well. You can add companies. You notice that of those companies, Deloitte, which is a consulting firm, had a number of jobs. HCA, which is the hospital medical city, in the different locations, has 196 jobs, okay? And some of those as well. But using the filters allows you to refine your searches. If you miss out on that, there's a tab over here that says clear, and you can go out, and that will take you back to your original search, and you can start over again. Okay. By looking at other people, you might want to look at other people and you say, okay, I'm going to do a search for a recruiter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You want to maybe, if you're an accountant, you may want to do it for an accountant to see if you show up. If you don't show up in the first 10 screens, and there are 10 of these thumbnail sketches per screen, it means that you probably aren't in somebody's active search pool. So what you want to do is to take a look at some of their profiles, take a look at some of the verbiage in their profile. If that fits you, you can borrow some of that, copy some of that to yours, and put it in your own profile as well. Let's take a look at other people and do that to improve your profile ranking when somebody runs a search. Okay, the other way that you can do searches is in the original search box. This was done by somebody for me, on me. They were looking for me, and they put in the word LOCKE. Well, I show up at the top, but here's LOCKE Lord, which is an accounting firm, a law firm here in town. LOCKE Hotels, which I wasn't familiar with. There's also a Alderson Cadillac dealer out in West Texas. Okay, so if somebody were searching like that, but that's how you can search in terms of searching for people by using the search box itself. And this jobs tab, once you've clicked on that, there'll be a jobs tab with a down arrow over there. You can also search for people that way. Looking for people is one way that you can do it. You can search for people in your own network. Okay, and these are the number of connections that you have, and you can add different sections. You can search by the disciplines that they may have. This is by using, again, you doing your network. You can say, okay, I want first and second degree connections in the Dallas area. And you were looking for any contacts that you may have in a specific company. Okay. And talent acquisition or recruiting is another area that you can look if you're looking for a company at that area. You can also do a search by company. This one, I happened to do a search for a company called Bed Electronics, which is here in Richardson along Bush Tollway next to the TI plant there on Renner Road. I'm looking at that. I was looking for a recruiter, okay, because I went to people, which is right here. And I put in the recruiter up here. These are the people in recruiting at Med Electronics, and I can connect with them. When I'm clicking on the connect here with Melissa Green Dexter. She's the Chief Human Resources. So if I were sending a profile or resume to her, or I applied for a position, I can also alert her that I've applied for a position, perhaps linking up with her. I mentioned the homework assignment, things that you can do on your profile. You want to go through and complete each section of your profile. The name that you have on there should be the name that you're known by. Actually, I play around when tele-recruiters call. I speak to John Alderson and I ask them which one. And they're kind of taken aback because I go by Locke, which is my middle name. But my father was John. My son is John. So I get to play around with them. It kind of throws them off their stride when they're asking for John Alderson. The headline, use the job title or titles, and you can use multiple ones that you're looking for. They don't have to be the job that your title, the title of the job doesn't have to be the one that you're currently occupying. And as I mentioned, if you don't put a job title in there, it's going to default to the last one in your employment section. You want to complete the open to work section below your headline. And you can list 5 job titles there and let recruiters know that you're open to opportunity, even if you don't open it up to all of LinkedIn. You want to include your phone number and your email address on the first line of your about section. Make it easy for me to connect with you. Your experience section, the company name, job titles, duties, and measurable results. What were the results, the accomplishments that you had? Because they add credibility to your experience. Keywords from your profession and the skills you want to have, the ones from your profession. And you can choose the ones that you want to display there. Again, if you're interested in the slide deck, it's lockealderson@gmail.com. I'll be happy to send it to you. I'll just say enclosed for most of those.
Locke,
Yeah.
we have a couple questions here before you move on. What is the recommended character used to separate titles? Should you use a comma, the pipe symbol? What do you have any, what are your thoughts?
I'm sorry, repeat the question for me, Jeff.
In the title field, when you're separating job titles, should you use
commas,
a comma? Should you use a pipe symbol?
Okay, it doesn't matter. It's what you like and are comfortable with. If you use a comma, do a space after the comma. Otherwise, it'll run those 2 words together with a comma in there, and that's not a searchable term.
Okay. Let's see here. Another question. How important is it, or how important or useful is it to have 500 or more connections?
Again, LinkedIn counts every section of your profile and adds a value for that. The more that you have in that connection section, the higher the value for that section in your search and when a search is conducted.
I mean, it's not a race. The object is not to hit 30,000. The object is probably to have 500 connections.
No,
Because once you
but
get
you
the,
want to build that. But if a recruiter were evaluating that, and we can take a look at that, let's see if I can do a new share. What have I done, Jeff?
you need to close out your PowerPoint, I guess. Here, I'll tell you what, I'll stop your,
There we go.
there we go. Now you can do a new share.
Okay, well, let's take a look at me. Can you see that on the screen?
Not yet.
Okay. I'm not getting it, Jeff. What have I done wrong?
Well, you want to hit share screen and then pick whatever you're using, the browser, I guess. And then when that box is up, make sure you click share in the lower right-hand corner of the box. There you go. All right, so we can see your, we see your desktop.
Let's go to LinkedIn for just a minute. If I can find a LinkedIn icon. It rearranged by
second
icons.
second row right there. There we go.
Okay. Notice that some of the things that are on there in terms of the profile. Again, the pencil that's there. I have only recruiters for my open to work. If I change that, just click that and allow me to do that. Okay. On the about section, again, my contact information is there. It only shows the first 3 lines. So that's one of the reasons to have your contact information there if we're not linked. I mentioned the enclosed, the feature section has got the power of the presentations are there in the dashboard. Again, activities I had. In terms of that, these are the different activities that I'm involved with, the different things that I'm working on right now. You can take skills at Endor. You can take a quiz in some areas on LinkedIn, okay? And though most of those, they don't apply to HR and recruiting for the moment, there are a lot of those for IT as well. Okay. Let's take a look, Jeff, if we can. We're looking at my screen, right?
Right.
Okay, let's take a look and search for somebody.
Well, hold on. I got a couple more questions before we do that. Is the cost of InMail worth it?
You can try it free for 30 days. If you do try it and you want to make a decision by the 25th, 26th day, otherwise they will bill you for the next month. Okay. I found that it wasn't beneficial to me, but I've got about 6,000 connections, so I can send in-mails to anybody there. The other thing that you can do is you can join groups and you can send in-mails to anybody in the group. That could exponentially expand your network. I know if you were to join a group called Dallas Blue, they have about 40,000 members in the Dallas area. Okay, I did away with that because they flooded my email box every day with emails, and I didn't want that. So I dropped out of that particular group. But that's a way to do it. I didn't find it valuable. There are some other minor benefits that you can have in terms of the number of emails that you can send.
Excuse me, Locke. If you were to join your school's alumni groups, that's a great way to exponentially grow your free in-mails.
You notice that? That's right there, one of mine. Okay. So A&M is one of mine. They have probably 250,000 graduates from A&M that you can join in their network. So it's a big network. There's some big ones like that.
And there's also something about if you're a veteran,
if you're a veteran, you get LinkedIn free for up to a year, I think it is.
Yeah, I'll talk about that at the very end.
Okay.
Jeff asked, can you use Boolean operators in the search box as well? The answer is yes.
You
So
can. Again, the best one to use there if you're in the search box is to put a phrase like talent specialist. You put it in quotation marks. See what it does.
Right. All right. Let's see here. Do you feel it's advantageous to reach out to recruiters via the people search and send them an email to connect for an opportunity?
Yes. Now, not everybody's going to accept your invitation, but again, you want to try and make yourself as well known as possible. The more times that somebody sees your name, the greater the likelihood is they're going to recognize and remember it.
There's another question here, and let's see here. If you're doing a people search, yes, there is an option to only search for those people who currently work at a company that you're interested in. It's one of the options.
Yes.
You have to pick. Rachel asked, where do we list volunteer experiences?
There is a section on there now. Right here, you see this add profile section. Volunteering is one of those sections that you can add, okay? Now, my volunteer experience is included in my full-time experience, but volunteer, you can add a section for volunteering as well.
Yeah, because back when Locke and I got on LinkedIn, there was no section for volunteering. So you had to just sort of stick it in as a current job.
But this, if we look at this is on volunteering. You notice the different areas that you can add. You can add education, about, languages, information. Here's one on accomplishments. That allows you to talk about other projects that you've worked on. If you're a project manager, project engineer, you can add that. Honors and awards that you may have had, organizations that you're members of, patents, courses that you've taken, anything that you've done since graduation, any business development courses, any seminars or workshops that you've attended at your company, you can add those in that particular section. That's something relatively new.
Right. Okay, so what do you want to do? You want to look for a company, or what do you want to?
Well, I wanted to show you something about jobs. When I look for jobs, I mentioned the 2 search boxes that are there. If I put in recruiter, okay. Notice there's an artificial intelligence. If I just select that I didn't put in the city, state, or location. It defaults to the United States. So you do want to go in and add a location, in particular that in this case, I put Texas. It took it from 2,260,000 down to 32. Okay. If I put Dallas, notice it'll offer some number of choices for Dallas, Dallas County, but there's also a Dallas, Georgia. There's a Dallas, Pennsylvania. And it didn't pick up on this one, Dallas, Oregon. Okay. So recruiter, again, these are jobs that are there, but you notice it's gone. Okay. Used to be an arrow over here. Here it is. This arrow down here are other things that you can search on. In addition to doing in the search box here, you could do it down here in terms of people or groups. You can join groups. I do advocate that you join groups. Okay. In terms of groups for recruiter, there are only 3,300 across the globe. Again, I would choose the ones that are local or relevant to you. And the reason that you might want to join that, this particular one, say, is Dallas, is because sometimes there are postings in groups for jobs that don't appear on LinkedIn. It's free to post in the group. It costs about $200 every time somebody runs a posting on LinkedIn proper. Okay. Jeff, you want to take a look at somebody's? Okay. Here are some people in terms of recruiter. When we did their search on the word recruiter, Jim Everett's a recruiter that I know. Recruiter hire. Again, these are recruiter based in Germany. So these are a number of different ways that you can do it. But if we want to look at somebody's profile, why don't we take a look at somebody's profile, or somebody wants to look for a job?
If somebody wants to pop their name in the chat box, we'll take the first name and we'll look at your profile. Just pop your, type your name in. Christina Matthews, Christina. Last name Matthews.
2 T's?
2 T's. There you go, I think. Well,
She was there, but I don't know why.
you're on groups. You need to switch to people.
Uh-huh.
Is it missing a T in Christina?
Oh, okay. There
That's
we go.
you? Which one, Christina?
The first one with the MBA.
Okay. There's Christina. She's got a nice background, a background shot or a banner shot that's there. MBA, she's after it. Usually after your name, they don't like you to put anything other than perhaps MBA or CPA. But if you were to put realtor, you might get shot down. Jeff and I had a friend, Dennis O'Hagan, who had realtor up there, and he got shut down for about 30 days on that. She's got a number of different opportunities that she's looking at. But again, she does not open to work, is open only to recruiters if she's filled that in. Okay. Because I'm a second degree connection with her, let's see about her contact information. Uh-oh, I cannot reach her in terms of contacting her because I don't know how to get hold of her. Now,
Well, look what she's done for her. Look what she's done before you do that. Look what she's done for her current job.
She's done something else to make it easy. She's put her phone number up here. Jeff, when he shows you his profile, will have his banner shot up there. But she's got her phone number up there, which
means that's her first job that she has listed. Her current job is what she's doing.
Okay. Now in her about section, notice only the first 3 lines show up in your about section. Okay. She's open to new jobs, which is a hashtag that you can use. She's also got her contact information at the bottom of her profile section. I would tend to put it at the top. You have 2,000 characters in this about section that you can play with. Okay. So it's something to consider. Adding to that and things that she's got. She's done a nice job at dividing up what her experience is. Okay. She was probably an independent project manager, program manager, because she's listed a couple of positions that she's had or projects that she's actually worked on at Lake Point Church, the Woodlands Church. Okay. And while she was working for AWS, Amazon Web Services certification program. Okay. Now, another thing that she's done here, she have linked a couple of jobs that she had at FlowServe. Okay. Right there. If you look at my profile, because Oracle acquired Siebel, that experience is linked together on my profile. thing that I would have on here would to add some accomplishments. What were the results of doing these, supporting the job search team members? Set strategies, was it successful? That's a question that you might have. Supporting job search team members, team level, team building. And if she has some results, I would include those.
Can you, will you
Christina?
go back to her first job for just a second? Because there's a question here. So what Cindy's done here, or what Christina's done here, is because she's not working right now, she's unemployed. So she's put down that she's a project program manager, and the name of the company is ChristinaAMatthews@gmail.com, hashtag 832-647-0795. So by doing that, and that's her current job, that then shows up at the very top where you see, if you want to scroll up to the top for a second. Keep going. That's how you see her email address and phone number, because that's the title of a company. That's the title field. That's the company name for a job. So that's how that makes it pop up in that field.
That's very creative, Christina. I had not seen that before.
You get
Thank
an
you.
extra star. You're gonna give you a bonus star for that.
But again,
Thanks.
I would put your contact information at the top of your about section. Move it from you can have it at the bottom, but also move it up to the top.
Yeah, I went back and forth on that if I wanted to do that or not, because if I do that, it just shows that instead of that little paragraph. And I know I need to add more information. That's something I'm working on right now.
Now, take a look at my profile, not because it's me and I'm egotistical, but the different ways that you can show your experience in that.
Okay.
And you can also, as Locke said, you can build, you've got a background up there, you put a background photo. If you look at my profile, you'll see that I have my phone number and email address built right into the title slide. How do you build a title slide, or how do you adapt something? There's a program called Canva, CANVA.com. It's really easy to use. You pick a background picture and you can edit it and add text and do whatever you want. So, that may be another way to make it really easy, because that way, when anybody searches your name on Google and your LinkedIn profile pops up, even if they're not in LinkedIn, they'll see your phone number and name.
Yeah, I did try that, but the way I'm using that picture, it's not coming through well. So I
Right.
put my lettering in white, and because my name is so long, the email address is so long, it was wiping out the end pieces.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing that I did, I just violated one of Jeff's rules. I just clicked on pending. I sent connect. If you use that connect button, which was right here, mine is pending. You always want to send it with a personal note of how you met somebody. Okay. Because they're more likely to accept that if they know who you are. I still get invitations from India and China for people with Oracle. I don't accept those. I also get those occasionally from Ghana or Liberia asking for money. I've got a business opportunity I want to talk to you about, deposit $1,000 and we can talk further. I don't accept those either.
All right, let's search for a job real quick, okay? Somebody want to
Okay.
type in the chat box, type in a job title that you're looking for. Technical writer. There you go. It automatically pops right up.
Okay, now by doing this and not putting a state in there, it defaulted to the United States. So what I'm going to do is go up here and go Dallas.
So
We
from
came up with
5,000 down to 160.
So we want to do that again. What I mentioned to that, you can tab. This tab over here is all filters. And I'm going to have I want to do it in the past week. Just to show you the results from that one. Took it down 53 jobs. Okay. The other filters that you can look at, the experience level or some other ones, the companies that have jobs right now. DICE is a job board, JP Morgan Chase, some other companies that you can have, the types of jobs that are available, contract and full-time. Most of the jobs on LinkedIn are going to be full-time. Occasionally you'll get a contract or a consultant. You can work remote or virtual. And again, there's some other things and locations for some of the jobs. These are some of the filters. These generally appear on a single screen. I don't know why they're showing up as without that today. Okay.
And you should also turn on the job alert.
The job alert right here, if you want to do that like this, notice that you can do daily or weekly, and that will send you the thumbnail sketches. I'm going to cancel that. Like this, you'll get those thumbnail sketches in an email every morning that you can look through. It takes, I know I get them from about 4 different sources because I have recruiter listed, I have career coach, career consultant. I get those kinds of emails every morning to look at. Let's take a look at somebody else's profile or somebody else's job request, Jeff.
We have another, second job was senior financial analyst.
I took a shortcut there. Notice that I had Dallas-Fort Worth up there, so it limited already, so I didn't have to enter a location. There's 114 results. Again, by going to all filters, it defaults back to the default settings, so it's in the past week. Okay. As descriptions, you can take a look at that. For connections for me in my Aggie network, because I've been an Aggie network, there are 27 alumni that work for this company. Well, those are 27 people that could make me an employee referral. The reason that you want to be an employee referral or get your name in front of the hiring manager as many different ways as possible, but by doing it through an employee referral, somebody has to answer to that employee referral, to that employee, why they did or did not select that candidate. Okay, so it gets a little bit of extra consideration from the recruiter or hiring manager. I know when I was with Siebel and resumes trickled down from Tom Siebel's office, again, we didn't have to hire the people, we didn't have to interview people, but we had to at least look at the profile, the resume, and give it a response. So we've done that back up the chain of command. Okay, does that help on financial analyst? But you have filters up here in terms of experience level, the companies, the job types, remote. They put some of the filters up here, but all of these filters are in the all filters, and that usually takes up a whole screen. And I mentioned some of them have salary information, like this one at Alcon over in Fort Worth has some salary data on the profile. There's another one, a salary profile. But not all of the jobs do that.
Let's just look at a company name. Somebody pop a company name in the chat box, and we'll just look for a company, and then we'll see who we may know in that company and how to sort of focus down on that. PepsiCo.
Can you put the job title and the company name in that field?
You can if you want. We're looking at PepsiCo now, and it brought up the 50 jobs that PepsiCo has open right now on their job boards.
And you'd see that, LOCKE has connections for almost every one of those jobs for people who, in his network. So that's why it's important to build your network out so you're able to go through and do that.
Now, there's some other information that it shows you on here. By looking at that, this job has 6 applicants that have applied so far. This one has 1. This one, nobody's applied for this particular job. Again, gives you kind of information. That's your competition when you apply for these, so you know what you're looking at. Okay. Again, we can look at companies as well by looking at PepsiCo. Okay.
So I have a question about that. So what you're saying is LinkedIn is picking out the positions that fit your profile. Is that correct?
Not necessarily. Positions in your profile, no. Okay. In this case, we were looking at jobs for PepsiCo.
Yes. So when I look up PepsiCo, I see total different positions.
Okay. But I was looking at jobs, remember? If you
Yes, jobs.
If you go to the basic search bar and put in PepsiCo, you're going to get in people. You remember I've had the demo, the slide for LOCKE. It was LOCKE and LOCKE Lord, which was an accounting firm. There's also a hotel chain. So again, depends on where you want to search. This key over here allows you to search in any of these different areas.
Correct.
And I think it probably does so remember past searches, so it's gonna, you know,
It has some artificial intelligence, that remembers what you've done in terms of past searches.
Oh, I got it. So I should actually clear it first and then do a fresh search.
probably that'd be a good idea, yes.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
So here's a good, Joseph had a good question. What if I don't live where I want to work? Should I use my
Okay.
target city as my current location?
Yes, you can. Again, the reason that a lot of companies aren't looking for people to relocate, but if a company's looking for a hard to find individual, they'll pay the relocation in many cases.
Right.
If we were to do the search like PepsiCo United States, let's say you wanted, okay, in this case, so we're looking PepsiCo in San Antonio. Okay. Metropolitan San Antonio, there are 424 jobs. Now, one thing that you have to do on that, remember, is these are all the jobs that PepsiCo has listed for San Antonio. Anytime. So within the past week, that filter, and then show the results, it took it down to 4 jobs. Actually, only 1 job. For some reason, it picked up Pleasanton, Texas, okay, at Dollar General. PepsiCo only had 1 job open in San Antonio. So again, be sure to take a look at the filter and look at the date that it's been posted. This was past week. You could limit it to the past month, and it's going to change. Took it up to 11 jobs, actually just 3. And the reason it's showing up for PepsiCo here is somewhere in this job posting, I would venture a guess that there is a word PepsiCo. It's picking up on that in the search. Somebody else's profile or another job, Jeff?
Well, I noticed on this first one, next to the job, it says promoted. And
Okay,
I've seen that promoted. What does that mean?
Means somebody's paid to have that one posted. Remember that LinkedIn is a job aggregator, means they gather jobs from a number of different sources. Okay, not just for people who paid on LinkedIn, but they paid money to have this job posted. It's like when you go to Amazon or what's the other one? But you can have can't remember, eBay. You can pay to have your job moved up to the top of the group.
Oops, sorry about that. Locke, I did not mean to take the screen from you. There are
That's all right.
We had a couple other really good questions. Let me get those questions back up there. Number 1, where'd it go? John said, I went to Valparaiso University. How do I join them as a group? You just put in the search box, Valparaiso University, and then make sure you pick the right one when you see it, and you just click follow. If it doesn't show, if they didn't pick that up off your profile. Second thing is Melissa was asking, how do you find groups to join? Same thing.
And you just put it, we showed an example of that when I put the word recruiter up there. There were 3,300 recruiter organizations across the globe. You can narrow it down to just the ones in the Dallas-Fort Worth. There are probably a dozen just in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for recruiters.
Right. All right. Well, Locke, thank you very much. I think great information. Hopefully everybody's learned something. We had a lot of people joining us today. Next week, our speaker is going to be Terry Sullivan. He's going to talk about how to tell your key contacts and prospects who you are, what you do, and how you can help. Please note that next week's session will not be recorded. He does not allow his presentation to be recorded, so if you want to see it, you'll have to join us live. All right, I need everybody to please raise your right hand and then repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Very, very important. I will not accept, personally, I do not accept invitations that do not have a personal note. I want to know who you are and why, why we should connect. So please, please, please always send that personal note over. That would be really appreciated. All right. LinkedIn does offer a year of LinkedIn Premium for job seekers who have a military and vet, or if you're currently in military or you're a veteran. you can go to veterans.linkedin.com. There also is LinkedIn's got a great little career tool if you're trying to figure out how to, take the skills you have and transfer them over. I'm going to put this in the comment field if I can get to that. Let's see here. Chat window. Where'd my chat window go? Cannot find my chat window. I will get it put in there. I don't know what has happened to my chat window. It's hiding somewhere. But you can go to linkedin.github.io careers.explorer, and I'll put that in the chat box as soon as I can find my chat box. Tomorrow, Wednesday, other programming that Career DFW has on, we do programming every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Every Wednesday is our Interviewing Wednesday class. Tomorrow will be session number 6. We'll be talking about interview openings and closings and following up. Lessons 1 through 5 were all about preparing for an interview. Lessons 6 through 10 are the actual interview. So we'll talk about interviews, open, closing, and following up, and how all that relates to one another. And then on Thursday, there we go. I didn't get to that. Then on Thursday, we'll be doing our effective resume class. We'll be talking about the similarities and differences between a resume and a LinkedIn profile. So it sort of relates to what we're talking about. How do you make them sort of the same, and what you should do. Also, we'll be giving away a month use of jobscan.co. We have a couple of licenses we can give away. You'll get to use them for the entire month of March. This Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group at 9:30 in the morning, our speaker is going to talk all about background checks. Once you get that job offer, they're probably going to run a background check on you. And what do you know about the good background checks, the bad background checks, and you'll be able to answer any questions you have about them. If you, we talked about joining LinkedIn groups. A couple groups you may want to join is the Career DFW and the Career USA LinkedIn group. The Career DFW LinkedIn group just went over 12,900 members. So it's a great way to sort of connect with more people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but a lot of people who are not in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I'll also tell you this, is probably 1 out of 20 people in that group are recruiters because they're trying to find you. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page, and later this afternoon it will be uploaded to the Career USA YouTube channel, where you can go back and watch all of our prior presentations. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you want to get on our mailing list, you can send an email to Career USA Plus subscriber at groups.io. I'll put this email address up at the very end of the presentation. On the Career USA YouTube channel, it looks something like this. Be sure you're looking at playlist, and then don't click on the video, but underneath, pick the subject that you're looking for, resumes, interviewing, LinkedIn, and where you see the red arrow, click on view full playlist. And what that will do is it'll pop up all the different sessions that have been listed, and you can go select whatever job title, whatever title that you're looking to do. Please remember, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have no full or part-time employees. We survive on donations. LOCKE is a volunteer. All of our LinkedIn presence centers are volunteers. I'm a volunteer. I've never gotten paid to do anything I've done over the last 12, 13 years. I do this as my charity to give back to people. And we survive on donations. It helps pay for the Zoom account. It helps pay for the web names, the web hosting that we have to pay for. So please, when you land your next great opportunity, please consider making a donation so you can help us out so we can continue to do what we're doing. So thank you very much for joining us today. There's that email address if you're not part of, if you're not getting any of our daily emails. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you at another presentation. Thank you, Locke.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Locke.